The courtroom was quiet except for the sound of my father's voice. "And this," he said loudly, pointing in my direction, "is the son who thinks he deserves half my company." A few people in the gallery shifted uncomfortably. My father enjoyed attention, and today he had plenty of it. Your one click can keep these stories alive. Subscribe, because every voice deserves to be heard. Don't miss out on the journey. Subscribe and let's grow, laugh, and learn together. The case had been going on for months. After years of working for his security consulting company, I had filed a lawsuit over ownership rights he promised but later denied. To him, that made me a traitor. To me, it was simply business. But my father preferred drama. He leaned back in his chair and laughed softly. "You know what the funniest part is, Your Honor?" he said to the judge. "My son thinks his little experience qualifies him to run anything important." His lawyer chuckled politely. I sat quietly at the plaintiff's table while my attorney flipped through documents. My father continued. He spent years disappearing, claiming he was working government contracts. He used air quotes when he said it. "Truth is," he added, "I think he just didn't want a real job." A few people in the gallery laughed nervously. My attorney leaned toward me. "Do you want to respond?" she whispered. I shook my head. "Not yet." My father had always underestimated me. It was one of his most consistent habits. When I turned 18, he expected me to join the company immediately. Instead, I enlisted in the Navy. He hated the idea. "Working for the government is a waste of talent," he told everyone, but he never asked what I actually did, and I never explained. When I came home years later, I joined his company quietly as an operations consultant. Most employees assumed I had basic military experience, security planning, risk assessment, the usual, but my father constantly joked about it. "You weren't exactly a Navy admiral," he'd say. I let him believe whatever he wanted, because the work I had done wasn't something people talked about casually. Now, we were sitting in a courtroom arguing over ownership shares. My father had promised me 20% of the company when I helped restructure several major contracts. But once the profits started growing, he changed his mind. "Family doesn't need paperwork," he told me. That was the day I filed the lawsuit. The judge adjusted her glasses and looked down at the documents in front of her. "Mr. Carter," she said to my father, "your counsel claims your son's contributions were minimal." "Exactly," my father replied confidently. "He did some paperwork, that's all." My attorney stood up. "Your Honor, we would like to submit additional evidence regarding my client's qualifications and role in the company." My father rolled his eyes. "Oh, this should be good." The judge nodded. "Proceed." My attorney placed a sealed folder on the desk. "This information was recently declassified," she explained. My father laughed again. "What is this, a spy movie?" The judge opened the folder slowly. As she scanned the first page, her expression changed. She looked at me, then back at the document. Finally, she leaned back in her chair. "Mr. Carter," she said calmly to my father. "Yes," he replied smugly. "You might want to reconsider describing your son's experience as paperwork." My father frowned. "What are you talking about?" The judge closed the folder gently. Then she said something that made the entire courtroom fall silent. "According to these records, your son served 8 years as a Navy SEAL." For a moment, no one in the courtroom moved. My father blinked, like he had misheard something. What?" he asked. The judge looked back down at the documents. "A Navy SEAL," she repeated calmly. "United States Naval Special Warfare." The quiet in the room deepened. My father's lawyer leaned toward the folder, clearly curious now. "That can't be right," my father said quickly. "My son worked security jobs. He told people he did consulting." I kept my eyes forward. My attorney spoke. Your Honor, my client's service record was classified until recently due to the nature of his assignments. The judge nodded slightly. I can see that. She turned another page. Multiple overseas deployments, advanced operational command training, and several commendations. My father shifted in his seat. For the first time since the trial started, he looked uncertain. Hold on, he said. Lots of people serve in the Navy. That doesn't mean he ran my company. My attorney stepped closer. With respect, Mr. Carter's service is directly related to the contracts he helped secure for your company. The judge looked up again. That would make sense. My father frowned. What contracts? My attorney gestured toward the folder. Your company's largest federal security agreements required high-level clearance contacts and operational credibility. Several people in the gallery began whispering. Those contracts were the deals that had turned my father's business from a regional firm into a national one. My father leaned forward slowly. Are you saying he got those deals? I finally spoke. You asked me to help expand the company. His eyes locked on mine. But you never told me you were some kind of special forces guy. You never asked. I replied. The judge glanced down at another page. According to this file, Mr. Carter also received the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal twice. My father's lawyer looked genuinely impressed now. Your Honor, he said, this appears to confirm the plaintiff had significant operational experience relevant to the company's federal contracts. My father looked back and forth between everyone at the table. You're all acting like this changes something, he said sharply. He still didn't run the business. My attorney calmly placed another document on the desk. This is the internal report showing which employee personally negotiated the company's first federal security contract. The judge reviewed it. Then she looked directly at my father. The name listed here is your son. The whispering in the courtroom grew louder. That contract had been worth tens of millions. And it was the reason the company had grown so quickly afterward. My father's confident posture had completely disappeared now. You told me you were just helping with paperwork, he said slowly. I shrugged slightly. You didn't seem interested in the details. The judge leaned back in her chair again. Mr. Carter, she said to my father. Yes, he replied, his voice noticeably less confident. You described your son's role in your company as minor. She tapped the folder lightly. But based on the evidence here, it appears your business expanded largely because of his expertise and connections. My father stared at the documents like they were betraying him. For years, he had told everyone that I simply worked under him. A small employee, replaceable. Now, the courtroom was learning something very different. The judge closed the file. Given this information, she said calmly, the plaintiff's claim of significant contribution to the company appears credible. My father's lawyer slowly leaned back in his chair. My father, however, looked like someone had just pulled the ground out from under him, because the son he had mocked for paperwork had just been revealed as the reason his company had ever landed its biggest contracts. The courtroom stayed silent. My father stared at the documents like they belonged to someone else. The judge spoke calmly. Given Mr. Carter's documented role in securing the company's largest contracts, his ownership claim is valid. A quiet murmur spread through the room. For years, my father told everyone I was just an employee, but the truth was simpler. The business he thought he built alone only grew because the paperwork guy he mocked had opened the doors he never could.